Hi, I'm Cass, the current coordinator of the Buddy Base. Today we're going to be talking about behavior management. So when we're working with kids, we have to talk about behavior management. Like we talk about it in some other videos, it is important to remember that each student is unique. So the same thing might not work for each child. And this is especially true with students in the Buddy Base, but this is also true with any student that you would work with. It is important to have a few different tools because of this in your back pocket when working with different children, and knowing specific plans that work well with your little buddy. So when you're switching little buddies, or if you are a sub, for example, it would be great for you to make sure you have an appropriate amount of tools that work well with different little buddies so that you're able to pull them out as needed with the kids. We want to focus on using reinforcements to encourage positive behavior rather than using our punishments to pull back on negative behavior. So using positive language when working with children is a great way to encourage this. So instead of saying don't run and using that punishment or that negative tone for them, say let's use your walking feet please, and use that positive language in order to keep them in a positive light and let them know, that we're not angry, we're not mad, we're just trying to help them be safe. Fidgets are able to be used as a tool when your little buddy needs it to focus. You are welcome to take the fidget away if it is being misused, however. But please don't use it as a reward or as a punishment for unrelated behavior. So if you let your child use a fidget in large group and they are misusing it by hitting a friend or rolling it on the ground, then absolutely you are welcome to take that fidget away because they are not using it properly. But if they are using their fidget properly and they're just speaking really loud, or they're walking around the room, or they're ripping up a piece of paper, we're not going to use this fidget as we're not going to use that as a punishment and take that away for an unrelated behavior, because we want them to know that that is a tool they are able to use. So in the same way, you are welcome to offer them a fidget, but I don't want you guys to be using that as a reward, like, hey, if you do good today, next week you can have a fidget, because that's not a punishment. It's just a tool for them to utilize and be able to control their body a little bit better. We do have another video on fidgets altogether if you have more questions about how to use fidgets. So if you notice reoccurring difficulties, make sure you set goals before you start the day. So you can set goals if you have a student who has a hard time with their walking feet. Before you even leave for the day, you can say, hey, today let's try and use our walking feet the whole day through. Or if they have a hard time talking, maybe you can say, let's try and just make 3 comments a day in large group, or something similar to that, by making a goal that is appropriate and specific to that child. There are also 3 different cues we can use when talking about behavior management. And so there are visual cues. So we currently use a goal page with 5 goals. And so I have one here. These are our daily expectations. This is one set that we have made for specific children that we work with. You can show these ones to your little buddy and go through them at the start or end of the day, referring to them as needed. So this is a great visual cue that we use. However, you are totally welcome to let your service leader and coordinator know if you would like an adjusted list with 3 to 5 expectations that are specific to your buddy and their needs. We also can use physical cues. So another tool is a fist bump check-in. So this is an example where if your little buddy has a hard time just like running from one activity to the next, you can have them check in by giving you a fist bump and telling you where they're going to be going. That's a physical cue that helps redirect them away from the craziness that's going on in their head and helps them tone in on what is happening right now. There are other physical cues you can use, such as a hand signal, so like slow down, or like no is some other sign cues that you can use, or maybe it's just like stop, or maybe those are physical cues that you can use. You are also that are usually used for recurring skills that you're working on, so you can set that cue and help them work with it. And another physical cue would just be a little bit of a touch. So if you put your hand on their shoulder, or if you put your hand over something over their hand when they're getting distracted or something like that, or other physical cues that are super helpful to work with your children. And the last kind of cue you can use is a verbal cue. So similar to physical cues, try and use consistent statements that your students know and understand to help them with the skill they have trouble with. So this can help them to internalize it. So let's say a skill that your little buddy is having a hard time with is their walking feet. Try and use the exact same term, like please use your walking feet, over and over, because then that student will be able to internalize it and recognize that statement. And so when they start running, they can think, oh, walking feet, and think back to that same cue. Another simple example would be if they talk a lot and you guys trying to say, let's be quiet during large group, or use our quiet voice during large group, or remember we need to stay silent during large group. If you pick just one of those and focus on that, that gives them a consistent thing to internalize and keep in their mind when they need that verbal reminder to themselves as well. So that is all I have for our behavior management. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or your current coordinator or service leader, because we would love to help. Thank you so much and have a great day.